How's it going, everybody? My name is Salty and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're taking a look at the top 5 class setups you could be using here in Black Ops Cold War Season 5. This off here in the number 5 position, we got the RPD. The RPD definitely got its shine when the Stoner got nerfed here recently in Season 4, along with Season 3. This thing has never been touched when it comes down to balance, and I feel like it's a very overlooked LMG here in the game. The movement speed is pretty good, the aim down sight time. Overall, the weapon is an absolute tank, especially if you're a player that likes to play a little slower on the map. Let's get right into these attachments. You'll see exactly why this thing is so overpowered. Now, starting us off in the optic, I like to personally use the Vision Tech 2 times here on all of my LMGs. However, if there is a preference that you like enjoying more, I would highly recommend going with that. However, if you're undecided, the 2 times is a very good place to start. Now, onto that muzzle, we have the GRU suppressor. You get 12% vertical recoil control, which is a ton when you think about it from a suppressor standpoint. You also get the ability to stay off the map hidden from your enemies. You are losing some bullet velocity and effective damage range there. However, when we get down to that barrel, you'll see why that does not matter at all. The big one here, the Task Force barrel, 5% added to your damage, 100% effective damage range, and 44% bullet velocity. The only thing you are sacrificing here is basically an extra mag and a little bit of ammo in your magazine. But as you can see here, it brings up to 44 damage, 43 meter effective damage range, and an 811.91 bullet velocity. Those are insane stats when coming from an LMG standpoint. This thing will basically kill in the same amount of time at any distance. Now, going onto the body, we have the steady aim laser. If you get into a close range engagement, you're really not going to want to be aiming down the sight. It's a very slow moving weapon, that being LMGs. They're big and bulky. Hipfire is going to be your best bet. That gives you 20% here. You can go with the mounted flashlight or the KGB target designator if you're more a fan of those. However, hipfire accuracy is important when it comes to LMGs. Onto the underbarrel, we got the VDV speed grip. There's not much in that vertical recoil control, and especially with that muzzle taking care of 12%. This will take care of all the horizontal needs, which I would say is the bigger issue than the vertical. When you're spamming the trigger with the RPD, it does like to bounce side to side, making it a little difficult to hit your shots. But this, like I said, 15% horizontal recoil control is taken care of here, and you get that 12% sprint moving bonus, making it a ton better when you're running around the map with the big LMG. Now, the magazine here, I have the normal 75 round mag. You do not want to sacrifice aim down sight time with LMGs. You want to have as most as possible. That way you can be as snappy as can be. The fast mag here normally would be a good option. However, with the recent nerf, which is the only nerf the RPD actually received, it brings the magazine size down 24 from 70, which is just not enough for an LMG. You'd just be reloading the entire time. Therefore, 75 round mag takes its place. Speaking of the aim down sight time here, we have the GRU elastic wrap. You're going to want to maximize that because if you get into a situation where you need to aim down the sights quickly, this is your best option. You also get the ability to drop shot. Huge here. You're going to want to maximize that movement, aim down sight time as much as possible. In finishing us off with the Spetsnaz PKM stock, this is a different one. People don't normally look at me like I am crazy, but you're not going to be running around the map like a chicken with your head cut off when you're using an LMG. Straight speeds are extremely important at medium and long range. Being able to move side to side, especially while you're shooting and just aiming down the sights, is important. It makes you a ton harder to hit. This is my RPD class setup. Let's slide over to number 4. Coming in at number 4, we have the Krig 6, the most accurate weapon in the game by far, especially when you have these attachments. There's virtually no recoil. You can aim, hold the trigger, and not have to worry about controlling anything. The only thing is you really can't play aggressive with it. You will not compete with an LC-10 and AK-74, really any SMG at that matter. But in those medium and long ranges, there's really nothing that can beat it. So I highly recommend it. This is my number 4. Let's get into all of these attachments. Now, right here, we have the Millstop Reflex for the optic. I highly recommend you get used to either the Microflex or the Millstop. Reflex sights are a ton better. It makes it so you're not blocked. If you're running, a scoped in sight like the 2 times or the 3 times, a bunch of your screen is cut off there. You want to have the ability to snap from enemy to enemy. The reflex sights are extremely good when doing so. I don't recommend the iron sights. They're a little bit bunched up, and like the 2 times and 3 times, you're kind of losing a lot of your screen there. So I would say give them a try. If you can't get used to it, find a scope that works for you. The rest of the attachments will do the work. For the muzzle, we get the infantry compensator, 12% vertical recoil control. Like I said, this thing shoots a freaking straight line. This is a big cause of it. 12% in the vertical recoil control makes it so you really don't even have to pull down on your analog stick there. This is easily the best attachment you can be going with here. You could even go with the SOCOM Eliminator if you want even more, but I don't think it's necessary, especially because you lose shoot moving speed. Now the barrel, this is what really takes the cake for the Krig, 126% in the bullet velocity, bringing it up to 1,553.1 meters per second. That means you basically shoot and your target, it hits your target immediately. It's more like a hit scan weapon like you're used to in those older Call of Duties. This thing is absolutely broken and definitely the barrel to be going with here. Now in the next category, this can be multiple things. I like the steady aim laser for the hip fire accuracy. However, if you like the mounted flashlight or the target designator, you can definitely do that. I don't recommend going with any of this stuff. Any below the target designator, you're losing aim down sight time, sprint to fire time. It's just not worth it at the end of the day. So I would say, hey, pick from the top three, pick your favorite and use that. Onto the underbarrel, we got the field agent grip. Again, a recoil control attachment that makes it shoot an absolute straight line. I would say all of the vertical was basically taken care of with the compensator, but you get an added 5% here, and then it takes care of 20% of the horizontal, which you did gain some when you decided to use the compensator. You lost 8%, but this is 20% to the horizontal recoil control here. So that's a 12% positive there. It shoots an absolute straight line. Trust me when I say that. If you've never given it a go, this is going to be the class setup for you. For the magazine, the 50 round mag. This is to maximize the ammo capacity while still not sacrificing much in the aim down sight time here. You're losing 15%. We get down to the handle, you'll see why that doesn't matter. But having as many bullets as possible on a map like Nuketown, Crossroads, Strike, Diesel is important. You can pick up a bunch of kills before reloading. Now onto that handle, we got the airborne elastic wrap. 30% added to the aim down sight time and the ability to drop shot. The aim down sight time is the big one here. Even though you lost 15% with that magazine, you're not really losing. You're still gaining 15% there, and you have extremely snappy aim. In finishing off the build, we have the Raider stock. This is to get that sprint to fire time up. It is rather low on the Krig when you're not running the Raider stock here. Brings it up to 30%. And you also get that 40% aim walking movement speed, which is important while strafing at medium and long ranges. At the number 3 spot, the AK-47. There's a reason this was the first weapon GA'd or banned out of competitive play, and there's a reason it's not allowed in league play. This thing is an absolute beast. It is the highest damage dealing AR in the game. The movement feels nice. The bullet reg is amazing. Let's just jump into these attachments. You'll see exactly why it's so overpowered. Starting us off in the optic, I know a lot of people like the iron sight, so you can definitely do that here. You don't necessarily have to run an optic. I like the Microflex LED personally. If there's a sight you enjoy more, you can definitely do that. However, I would definitely recommend going with one of the reflex, that being the mill stop or the Microflex here. For the muzzle, you got the GRU suppressor. This gives you the ability to stay off the map hidden from your enemies, makes it a ton easier to streak up, go for a nuclear, just stay alive in general, and you also get an added 6% to the vertical recoil control there, which can be important. For the barrel, we got the 20-inch Liberator. Maximizing the bullet velocity on assault rifles is the big go-to here. It brings it up to 1,193.4 as a very decent 27.93 meter effective damage range. You can go with the VDV reinforced, but tell me when you're really ever going to get into an engagement with an assault rifle at 66 meters. It's just not there. Therefore, the Liberator is just best in line. 27 meters is still very far. For the body, like the other class setups you've seen in this video, we got the steady aim laser. I'm personally a fan of the hip fire accuracy, but again, if you guys like the mounted flashlight or the target designator more, you can definitely go with those. Now the underbarrel, we have the speed grip. 5% added to your sprint moving speed. That's more or less a bonus, but we got the 15% horizontal recoil control there, which is the biggest downfall of the AK-47. When you're spamming that trigger, it really does bounce side to side. The vertical is definitely controllable there. However, that horizontal is almost uncontrollable. The speed grip really does take your weapon in control here. You can hold down that trigger and pick up a bunch of kills. The magazine, I got the Bakelite 50 round. Maximize that ammo capacity and still only sacrifice 15% in the aim down sight time category. 50 bullets is a lot. In the standard reload speed here, it really isn't that long. It's 2.9 seconds. If you're picking up 4 or 5 kills with the 50 round mag here, you should have plenty of time to get to a safe place to reload. If you're on a small map, you're going to want to maximize that ammo capacity It is extremely important. You can pick up a bunch of kills, play aggressive enough, get to the safe spaces, and reload. Now, a different one here, people may look at me kind of funny, but we got the Serpent Wrap. 25% to the aim down sight time, but the big thing here is you're not sacrificing shoot moving speed. One thing people don't really notice with the airborne elastic wrap, they just look at that 30% aim down sight time gain. They don't see that minus 10% shoot moving speed. The movement speed on the AK-47 is not the best, especially when you're shooting. You're kind of just standing there, kind of like standing in the road in open traffic. But the Serpent Wrap here, you're not getting that minus 10%. That's a big thing here. Let's get down to that stock. The KGB skeletal stock is where we're finishing off this one. 30% added to the sprint to fire time and 40% in the aim walking movement speed. This is a big attachment here. The sprint to fire time on the AK is probably one of the lowest in the AR category, but with this, it's extremely good. Those stray speeds are an added bonus. Like I said, when you're shooting or even just walking, the stray speeds stock on the AK-47 are rather low. So this is just the best one you could be going with here. The AK-47 is one of those weapons that was an acquired taste for me, but boy, am I glad I gave it a shot and found a class setup that works for me. I highly recommend you give this one a go. Now, at the number 2 spot, this should not be much of a surprise to people. We have the AK-74U. It's been a staple here in this game. Even through all the nerfs it's had, it's still a staple in the game, the go-to for the competitive players, an all-around viable weapon in most situations. Good at medium range, good at close range, very good movement speed, and there really should be no complaint here. And at number 1, I'm sure you can probably guess it, but we'll get to that eventually. Let's get started with this class setup. Now, the muzzle, we got the Spetsnaz compensator. You used to be able to get away with the muzzle brake here, but with the nerf of the AK-74U, you're going to need the compensator. You get 12% vertical recoil control here. It makes it very, very manageable. You do have to pull down on the stick a little bit if you're in a medium range engagement, holding down that trigger. However, it's by far the best muzzle you can be using here on the 74U. Now, the barrel, we have the 9.3-inch extended. This is a hot take for a lot of people. They don't realize this is the barrel that the pros use. A lot of people like to go with the Liberator here. You maximize the bullet velocity, which you would think is a very big thing. That's a positive. But it's actually not. You're losing movement speed. Same with the reinforced heavy here. You're losing sprint moving speed with the rifled, and you really should never go with an effective damage range attachment on SMGs. And then the task force, your recoil control is basically uncontrollable. So none of those are recommended for me. But you have 0 cons here with the 9.3-inch extended, making that movement absolutely insane. Now, the underbarrel, we have the Spetsnaz speed grip. It was debated that a lot of people would prefer to use the normal foregrip here. At the end of the day, you get the same amount of horizontal recoil control where there's only a 3% added to the sprint moving speed, but that 3% is actually a lot. That is the difference between you making it to middle map 3% quicker than your enemy. That's actually a huge amount when you seriously consider it. The horizontal recoil control is also needed. When you're holding down the trigger on the 74U, it does bounce side to side quite a bit, especially when adding that compensator. This will make up for it. 18% is a ton. Now the handle, I'm sure nobody's surprised here. The GRU elastic wrap. You want to maximize the aim down sight time on an SMG. You want that snappy aim for the close range engagements. That should not be a surprise to anybody. There's not really much you need to say here. You also get the ability to drop shot. And again, not much of a surprise, I'm sure. We got the KGB skeletal stock. 30% to the sprint to fire time and 10% to the aim walking movement speed. The sprint to fire time is a huge one here, especially in the close range engagements. You're bunny hopping corners, sliding, drop shotting, and it just makes you pull up your weapon extremely quickly. And then we got a 10% added to the movement speed of the weapon. It moves extremely fast, especially with this class setup. The AK-74U is by far my favorite weapon to use in the game and is my most used weapon. I have almost 50,000 kills with the 74U with this class setup. So take that as you will, and let's move on to number 1. At number 1, we got the LC-10. I'm sure none of you were surprised with this. It is the biggest crutch weapon, the easiest weapon to use in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Every single game has one, and they refuse to nerf that metal weapon. It's absolutely insane, but it's too good for me to not share the class setup with you. Let's get started right now. The muzzle, we got the agency suppressor. You want to stay off the map, hidden from your enemies, go on some streaks, get a nuclear. This is the attachment for you. You also get that 7% vertical recoil control. And as you can see here, you can tell we're not using an underbarrel. You don't need it on the LC-10, especially going with the agency suppressor here. All the vertical recoil in the entire build is taken care of with this suppressor. Now the barrel, we have the 14.5-inch Ranger. Maximize the bullet velocity. That's the biggest downfall of the LC-10. And with the Ranger, it makes this thing actually overpowered. Brings it up to 820 meters per second. That lines up with LMGs and assault rifles as an SMG. You can shoot across the map like an AR or an LMG, which is probably why it's the most busted gun in the game. Now for the magazine, the 52 round fast mag. maximize the ammo capacity, gives you the ability to reload quickly. If you're on a small map like Nuketown, Hijacked, Crossroads, Strike, you're going to need this. You want as many bullets as possible, reload quickly, get right back into the action. However, if you're playing on a bigger map, you can definitely go with, you know, the 55 round mag here, the 42 round fast mag, or even the normal 45 round mag. But in those small map situations, the 52 round fast mag is by far the best thing you can be running here. And again, not much of a surprise, I'm sure. We got the airborne elastic wrap again. This is to maximize the aim down sight time. I keep saying it, you want snappy aim with SMGs. You're in close ranges, you want to snap onto your target quickly and get the kill. It also gives you the ability to drop shot, which I tend to do a lot of, especially with SMGs. In this game, drop shotting is a little weird, but airborne elastic wrap makes it feel normal again. And the Raider stock is where we're going to finish us off here. We got 30% to the sprint to fire time and 10% in the aim walking movement speed, just like the 74U. I mentioned it, you're jump shotting, you're drop shotting, you're sliding around corners, you want the ability to pull up and shoot your weapon extremely quickly. That's where that sprint to fire time comes into play. And the added 10% aim walking movement speed is just really a bonus there. The movement speed on the LC-10 is already very good. And this is really why the LC-10 is the best weapon in the game. All the attachments line up with the 74U, but that bullet velocity really puts it over the top. These were my top 5 class setups here for Black Ops Cold War Season 5. This could possibly change with the new introduction of the DLC weapons. However, I don't see much changing after that. I mean, there's really no one can complain. The LC-10 and AK-74U rule the SMG category of this game. I think the same can be said for the Krig and the AK-47. All these class setups, I would highly recommend you give a try. Let me know if your top 5 is different down in the comment section down below. Let me know your class setups for them, and I will hit you guys with a reply, let you know my thoughts. If you guys are new to the channel and would like to find your way back for more videos just like this one, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button for me. That'd be absolutely awesome. If you guys learned something new or possibly like what you saw in this video, make sure you also smash the like button. That's the most effective way to support the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.